Alrighty then. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? It's a new year. Yeah. And since it is a new year, I wanted to talk about something quite specific that caught my attention. Millennials are gay. You gays, we're all gay. So, according to a survey by Gen Forward, they interviewed about 1,900 millennials across the US and DC, both in English and in Spanish. And the survey suggests that 14% of all millennials are LGBTQ. Millennials from the age of 18 to 35, I'm guessing, 34. They identify as LGBTQ, as gay, lesbian, transgender, or bisexual. And that is saying that within all millennials, the Latino millennials, it's 22% that are LGBTQ, as opposed to the 14% African American, the 13% white, and the 9% Asian American. So we're all gay. Most of the knowledge pointed to religion being one of the culprits in millennials being inspired to push back against conservative social norms. I mean, I can say from experience that I was raised Pentecostal when I was a kid, and so there were certain norms, certain things that you had to do, that you just had to think and be, and that's just how it was. And as an adult, I've kind of looked within myself more than outside. I mean, obviously I follow fashion stuff and all that, but I mean, I looked within myself to see who I am specifically, and obviously everybody, that's always an ongoing journey, but what I figured of myself is not as binary as they portrayed it to be as a child. So that's just one example of the things that I realized, and I think you can put that towards any other thing within the religion and the lifestyle itself. It was very restricting for men and for women in terms of how everybody should behave, and certain things that were kept a secret, and certain beliefs and stuff. Stuff as simple as having to wear a long skirt or a skirt and not pants, and not being able to wear jewelry, and all these weird rules that we had to follow. But that's besides the point. I kind of grew up and I was like, okay, so why? If it's cool outside and I want to wear some pants, what's the problem? And so it kind of came for me out of just really kind of seeing everybody else and kind of challenging my own beliefs as to what made sense and what didn't make sense. And most of those weird arbitrary rules didn't make sense. And the weird double standards also didn't make sense. It was just weird. Also, negative experiences with religion, strict norms and such, like colors being assigned and to gender. And when I was a kid, I couldn't hang out with the boys and I had to hang out with the girls. Little did my mom know. All of those weird rules. And I remember specifically really bad experiences where I had my birthday party at my mom's apartment. And I had this frilly dress with everything. And I had these socks with little ruffle. It was just so uncomfortable. And one of my favorite songs came on. And I went to my bedroom and I begged my Mom, can I wear some pants? Because I want to be able to break dance freely and jump and dance and stuff. And she said no, so I had to just sit there because I felt very uncomfortable dancing with a dress like that. It was just poofy and my underwear was going to show, and I was really upset, and I felt really restricted as to what I could do. So I was a little frustrated with that. Negative experiences like that, I'm guessing, would push you to explore what else you yourself have to offer, what else society has to offer, and really looking back. Specifically with religion, a lot of people looking back to older religions and older traditions. And it's not only at home. It's not only at home or at church. It's also at school, because of these social norms extend everywhere. And it's funny, even though I lived in a very diverse neighborhood, everybody just kind of did the same thing. They looked down on being gay. And so it's experiences like that kind of push you away from the status quo. You're like, if I found no comfort here, they already think I'm a freak, so might as well find somewhere else that they'll love me or just die. Honestly. And it's funny because this study also resulted that, and it's evident that immigration rights issues also become LGBT issues because of the Latino community and other immigrant people. But we're talking specifically here about Latino community, Latinx community, I'm sorry. It's very much ingrained because we're already dealing with those things. A lot of people who are first and second generation or have just immigrated, it's something that's present. And just because we're LGBT doesn't neglect the other things we have to deal with. So that obviously would become part of it, I'm guessing. Just putting two and two together here. Other stats included stuff like trans discrimination. It says here, additional findings. A majority of Latino, 61%, and Asian American, 53%. Millennials surveyed that there is a lot of discrimination against lesbians and gays in their racial community, compared with 43% of African American and 27% of whites. It's a lot of hatred. And I don't have right now the articles for it, but there was a situation where a bunch of trans people were getting killed in Puerto Rico and stuff like that, and they were coming out in the news for some reason, and I was seeing it for some reason here, which was good that we were able to see it, but it was just not great. I mean, we still have a lot of work to do because we're not all equally represented. Like, the LGB, we're getting represented and we have representation, and we're still striving for more understanding and representation. But the T part of it, trans people are still going through it, and they're going through it hard. People are getting killed, like quite literally killed for just existing in their truth. It's like, it blows my mind, but that's another conversation. And a millennial said that two of the most important things that they're worried about is ending LGBTQ crime. And it's important. And the other thing that they wanted to end is LGBTQ bullying for children. Because this is not only adults getting their asses kicked, there's also children getting their asses kicked. And being bullied 24/7. Like, these children, they're at home. They can't escape. They have to see these people every day at school. They have no choice. So they have to live with this torture every single day. You add on enough of that to a little kid and they break. So this is something that we need to end, period. So those two are the main concerns in millennials in general. And it's interesting I'm talking about trans people because trans people are still moving forward. LGBTQ people are still moving forward. MJ Rodriguez was the first trans actress to win a Golden Globe. And she got nominated before then for an Emmy for Pose. So it's kind of like, these people are out here, especially trans people. They're out here. They're just living their lives. Let's put a stop to this BS, because there's enough lives being lost for no reason. Now, one thing that millennials disagree with was the representation of the different issues, the different race issues in mainstream LGBTQ media. African Americans, which is 53%, and Latinx people, which was 50%, were saying that mainstream LGBTQ media was not representing all of the issues equally. Like, there's a lot of issues that are not being talked about. And then 54% of Asian Americans and 58% of white Americans said that they didn't see a problem. What you gonna do? And the thing is that LGBTQ organizations, they do good work, they really do, but issues affect all of us differently. They really do. Like, if you put the same situation and you add different race people to it, they'll have different outcomes. They will. And then you add their individual issues, and then they will further. And then you add the circumstantial issues, and it'll be more different. So it's kind of like, all our issues affect us differently. Anyway, I wanted to share this information because I thought it was good info to find. I think it's worth talking about, and I think that the Latinx community specifically should talk more about these issues, the LGBTQ issues within the Latinx community, especially in the US. It's to a point where a lot of the discrimination, the BS people go through isn't talked about, especially with immigration issues and poverty issues and whatever the case is. We don't talk about it. So we need to talk about it. There are some spaces out there. If there isn't a space out there to talk about this, let's make a space to talk about this. I think it's important to have these discussions so we can learn something. Anyway, that's beside the point. Also, did you guys know that the LGBTQ community, might be able to marry in Cuba? But that's for another video. Whatever. But anyway, thank you guys for stopping by and taking a listen. I'm Gigi. Thank you guys very much. Bye, my babies.